Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Liam Rose. I'm an author, mentor, life coach, motivational speaker, evangelist, musician, activist. In today's FLS20S session, we're going to be making the fifth track from a brand new album called Buddha. This track is very important for the album and it's called Spiritual Enlightenment. And the reason why I'm making this track is because basically when Buddha was in the world and when he was preaching the Dharma to humanity, obviously trying to save humanity from suffering, pain, and adversity, in the Buddha's life, he reached spiritual enlightenment. So he obtained the spiritual enlightenment. Now, in the Buddhist tradition, Buddha was the awakened one, the enlightened one. So he was able to find spiritual enlightenment in his life. And that spiritual enlightenment was the Dharma to all human beings and to all humanity. So spiritual enlightenment does come very important, especially when overcoming suffering, pain, and adversity. So I wanted to create a track for the Buddha album, especially this particular track, to just say thank you to the Buddha for his teachings, for spreading spiritual enlightenment to humanity, to the universe, and try to show human beings that you can become spiritually enlightened and spiritually awakened if that's the path you choose. And the Buddha, his Dharma and the Buddhist religion and tradition is basically all over the universe, worldwide. And it just goes to show that the Buddha left his spiritual teachings, leaving a legacy for humanity, for all human beings, and for mankind, which is so significant. So how we're going to produce this track is an intro, verse, and an outro. So let's begin with the intro first. Okay, so we've done the intro, so we're going to add it onto playlist. Okay, so next we're going to do the verse drums. I'm just going to add the drums in now. Okay, so I'm gonna add the verse drums onto playlist. I'm gonna add it up until 64. That's how I've been normally producing my beats. So I'm just gonna do it to bar 64. Okay. Next, I'm gonna do the verse melody. So I'm just gonna create a melody. Gonna try and keep the melody simple. Right, I've done this melody a little bit longer this time. Just gonna add in more notes now. Okay, so we've done the melody. I'm gonna add it onto playlist now. I've done the melody a little bit longer, so I just want to see how it fits onto the playlist now. So let's just see. Yeah, it's a little bit longer. So I'm just gonna make the drums to 66 because the melody's a bit more longer. So just gonna add the drum notes again. So let's just do it to 66 now. Oh. So next I'm going to do the verse bass. I normally save as I go along, so normally just save as I go along. So I'm going to do the verse bass. I'm just going to highlight the notes, and then I'm going to add the notes onto pattern. So I'm going to cut the bass notes and add it into its own pattern. So I'm going to now lower the bass just a little bit. I'm going to add the bass onto playlist now. So we've just sort of highlighted the notes, so that's what we've done. So next I'm going to do the verse piano. Normally how I produce instrumentals these days, I just do a long verse. So that's what we're doing with this beat. So verse piano. So just going to add the piano notes onto the melody, and then I'm going to cut the piano notes, make it into its own pattern. So I'm just going to add in notes. Okay, so we've done the piano notes. We're just going to cut them now and add it into its own pattern. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to lower the piano notes as well because I don't want it to override the melodies. So I'm just going to lower it quickly. Yeah. And then we're going to add on to playlists. So next we're going to do the outro now. For the outro, I'm just going to do maybe a kick drum, some hi-hats, and a melody. So let's do the outro. It's basically just some kick drums, hi-hats, and then a melody. So just going to create the kick drums. So let's play. Okay, so we've done the outro, so I'm just going to add it onto playlist. I'm not going to add any more drums to it, so I want to keep it simple. I'm just going to add it onto the playlist now. This beat is a little bit longer, but should be okay. Should be alright. So what we're going to do next, we're going to add in the vocals now. I always add vocals to my beats. So I try to always add vocals into it. So so we're going to add the spiritual enlightenment vocal on every third bar. So let's just count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2. Just counting the bars. Because this beat is a little bit longer, um, just, just counting it in as I go along. Okay, so next I'm gonna add the spiritual change vocal just before. So normally, the beats that I've been creating these days, I add like 3 vocals into it. So before I was only adding 2, but now I add about 3 vocals into it, and they're all different vocals. So I try to do that with the beats that I create. So just added in the spiritual change vocals just before the spiritual enlightenment vocal, and then we're gonna do the final vocal for the track. Okay, so next we're gonna add my life as like a story vocal just in any space that I see in the track. So this is just part of my music. I add my life as like a story, sort of like my brand. So that's why I add it in there. Before I wasn't adding in this vocal, it would normally be a spiritual change or spiritual music. But as I've sort of gone on in the music, I've now added my life as a story to my tracks. So yeah. So we're nearly finished now, just adding in these final vocals, and then the beat is done, and then we'll play the intro, verse, outro. Okay, so we've recorded the track now, so the track's been recorded, so spiritual enlightenment. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna play the intro, then play the verse, and then play the outro. So let's play the intro first.
My life is like a story. Spiritual change. Spiritual enlightenment. My life is like a story. Spiritual change.
And next we're gonna play the verse.
My life is like a story. Spiritual change. Spiritual enlightenment. My life is like a story. Spiritual change.
So next we're gonna play the outro.
My life is like a story. Spiritual change. Spiritual enlightenment. My life is like a story.
Okay, so that's the beat done. So what I normally do, I save the MP3 file, then the zip file, and then the project data, so the project sounds. So I'm only going to be saving the MP3 file, then I'm going to turn off the recording and finish the FL Studio 20 session for today. So let's just save the MP3 file. So I'm just going to save the project first. So already created the file already earlier. So next we're going to save the MP3 file. And I've already created a folder for the album already. So we're just going to save it in the folder. And then that's the end of the tutorial. So thank you for watching now. Take care.